Hello, it's Jennifer, and we are going to make 2 necklaces and 2 pairs of earrings using the Jesse James Beads Ice Cream Mini Bead Mix and Root Beer Float. Looks really good. I love root beer floats too. And this is what's on the beading mat here is everything that is packed. I mean, all of this was packed in this little small container. So it is just packed with goodies. I am gonna use everything except for these 2 cage beads because I want to use them for something else. And these heart slider charms, I am going to save those for something else as well. So I'm gonna put those back here so I don't get them blended in and accidentally use them. So also what I need to add to this is I'm gonna add some head pins, and I just have some bright silver head pins, not ball, just the regular head pins. I have 2, they're open rings, but they're pretty tight. So I am gonna try using those. And then I have a lobster clasp and a 6mm closed, and a few smaller jump rings for this necklace here. For this one here, we're gonna use some head pins as well. We're just gonna use the beading wire, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use the fire line or if I'm going to use, I thought I had it out here. I had some soft flex. Oh, let me go get it. Extreme Flex. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to use this one or if I'm going to use the fire line because I do want to do something a little different down here with the strand, making just maybe a little drop. These I'm going to use head pins for the drops. Then for the earrings, we are going to need some, we're going to use head pins. We're also going to use some 22 gauge silver, so it's the bright silver 22 gauge Beadsmith craft wire. And then we're also going to need some ear wires, and so I'll need to grab those. And so we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm also going to be using some of my own chain and in the bright. And I was going to use this textured, but since I'm using the textured ring, I am going to not use the texture. So I'm just going to use the regular chain here. And I did bring these out too because I thought, well, maybe I'll use them for linking or something, and I've changed my mind, but I wanted to have them out here anyways, just in case, because I may change my mind again, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those off to the side. I'm going to pull this up so we can get started on our first thing. So I'm going to start down here and work my way up. Some of the tools I'm going to be using some chain nose. I have a couple different chain nose pliers. I have some flat nose pliers dipped in Tool Magic. I have some smaller chain nose. I also have some round nose pliers, and I have my cutting tools, as well as bent chain nose pliers. So I have all these tools out here, right? And so now we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna start on this one here. And what I was thinking was having the wire come, or actually starting in the middle, creating this little loop, which I guess I am gonna need a head pin for this one. Creating a little loop here with the wire and somehow maybe crossing them over and bringing them up this way. So I'm thinking that's probably how I'm gonna do that. And then I'll tie them up to a ring up here, and I'll get those nice and tight. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make myself a, just a wire wrap this teardrop. Beautiful teardrop too. Look at that beautiful color. And again, this is the Root Beer Float. And it's just really a lot of different colors. colors that I would not put together, but I am putting together. And so I'm really glad I got this mix. I did get a couple other mixes. I got mint chip, which mint chip is my favorite ice cream. Had to get mint chip. And then a couple other little colorful ones. So what I'm gonna do is I just bent with using my chain nose pliers, and I do wanna have a little bit of a neck because I am going to wire wrap this. So I do want a little bit of a neck. And so where you have the placement of your chain nose pliers determines how tall that neck is gonna be as far as how many wraps you're gonna get around. And I just went towards the, towards the end, and I'm gonna get maybe 3 nice tight wraps in there. So now I'm gonna come in with my chain nose pliers, and again, you can see where I've been measuring. I put little Sharpie marks so that I know. And so and I've seen this done a couple of different ways. However, I just go back to my Old Faithful where I learned when I first started learning how to do these wire wraps, and that's from Kelly at Kelly's Bead Boutique. And so I am going to come in close to the front, or to the top, and my palm is facing me. So now I'm gonna grab that wire and push it up against the top barrel, just like that, okay? So now I can see that there, right? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep my chain nose pliers in there in the same spot. Now I'm gonna point my palm towards the table. And then I'm gonna come in and just bring that towards the back. Then you see how it's a little cattywampus there, and so I just move it into where it's centered, and now I'm done. And I want this to be going straight out so I can just grab it and wrap it. And I've seen a lot of people grab or keep their loop inside their looper, but I bring it out, and then I just come over with the chain nose pliers, and I give it a nice good grip. I don't go on top of where they cross. I just give it a good grip right at where the loop is. And you can use your fingers, but I like to use my bent chain nose pliers because then I can get it a little bit tighter. I have a little more control over where it's going. So I'm going to give it 1, 2, and I let go every time too, because you can snap these. And then I'm going to go around, and to me there is a front and a back. So to me there is the front, and so I have my tail going straight out the back. And I'm really weird about my tails and where they're tucked in, and I'm going to come in and just give it a little cut, and that went flying somewhere. Then I come in with my flat nose, or you can just hold it with your fingers. I come in with my flat nose just so that I know that I have a good grip, and then I'm just going to tuck in that little end. And I have to be very careful because this is a glass bead. This is a glass bead, and it will break. So there we go. There's our little loop. Okay, so now I have that. Okay, so now let me find my halfway. Something else that I have out here too is I have my needle. All right, so let's go ahead and just thread this through. And I just have an idea, so I just don't know if it's gonna work or not. So you know how sometimes you have an idea and then you want to try and put it down on paper. Well, I'm trying to put it down right here. Okay, so now that I have that threaded, this is gonna be one side. Let's put this guy. My my loop's probably gonna go over these little beads, but that is okay, but it's gonna be a drop, so it's should be okay. All right, so now let me try and get this down to the middle, because then what I'm wanting to do is do this here and then pass my thread through that center bead. Let's see if that'll work. All right, so now I have it down. Sorry about bumping into that. So now we're gonna go this way. We'll see if it works. If it works, then, and I'm gonna take him off, put him on over here. And I'm sure this has been done before. But it's a first for me. All right, so now let's go through this way. All right, because then I can keep this guy threaded. Okay. All right, so let me see if it's kind of in the middle. Not even close. So I'm gonna just bring this guy over and then try and see if we're in the middle here. Still new. All right, so that should get us a little closer. Yep. All right, so now let's go ahead and start threading this guy on, and we'll see what it looks like. If it doesn't look good, I can always change it. Hey, I mean, that's not bad. That's cute. All right, so now let's go like this. Let's go like that. So then we create a little, are they going in the same direction? Nope, they're going in a different one. All right. I just talk to myself as I'm doing this. Let's put crystal rondelle. Let me move this up a little bit more so that we can see a little more what's going on. Okay, then we have, I love this color. Look at that color. I think I have these in other bead mixes too. All right, the true test is gonna be when I get down to the bottom where the little guy is, and we'll see if the little, well, no, the little guy got through. He got through at the bottom, so he should be able to get through up here too. It's gonna be passing it back through. Well, I think I'll be able to pass it back through. All right, so there we go. Again, it's just short in the front. All right, I like it. So now let's grab one of these guys and make sure that they're all tightened up, and he is pretty well tightened. So let's go here and let's just make a knot, right? But I don't want all of this to get tight in there. All right. So now let's bring this guy down. All right. Okay, so he's in there. I'm gonna bring him back around again. So he will be seen just because that other bead is very small. However, though, it will, this, with me using the white, well, actually it's a crystal color. With me using the crystal color, it does camouflage it a little bit. Okay, then let's just go ahead and pass this back through. Guess I didn't need so much wire, right? So let's pass this back through. So let's go through a couple here. Make sure it's not all knotted. Then let's go ahead and let's make a knot. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but how I'm sitting here, I'm not really sitting in my normal, the way I normally sit. All right. Okay, so we got a nice knot there. Then let's go ahead and send it through again. So we'll send it through a couple of more beads. Gotta get around that knot. Send it through a couple more beads. Okay. Then let's go ahead and give it another, and I'm gonna double, I'm probably gonna double up on the knots here around this guy. Let's go again. Because these guys have a little bit of larger hole that I can tuck that under. All right, perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and pass that through. All right. Okay, nope, let's pull it through a little bit better. All right, so there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna need my little thread zapper. Okay, so now let me get my little needle open again, and we're gonna repeat on the other side. So now I'm gonna come in with my thread zapper and give it just a little, I mean, you can cut it with your, scissors, but I always just give it a little zap. Okay. And you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and wrap. I'm gonna go ahead, I don't think I knotted this side. So I'm gonna give this side another little knot or two. Let's go ahead and give that. Because it's gonna be hidden anyways under that crystal rondelle. It has a nice little spacer, space, if that's such a thing, spacer space. And I have really, really done a number on this knot. So the thing is with my lighting at this time of the day, what is good for you guys is not good for me. So I give you guys a good lighting. All right, and then I just kind of hunt and peck around. All right, so now we have this here. And what I should have done before I even you know, finished up or tried to, was I could have tried to make sure that I usually give it another look and make sure that what I have on one side is the same as on the other. So let's see how long this is. And this is 6.5 inches. And I want it to be an 18-inch necklace. And so that was 6.5. I am trying to get this undone. Probably gonna have to come in with good old cutters here, because that was twisted very well. Okay, so we have 12.5, or 6.5. This was 6.5, and I want 18 inches. So I'm gonna come in at 11. I'm gonna come in at like 11 or so, just because we have the lobster clasp, and I think these are open. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna come in with these fandy dandy needle nose that are super tiny, but I love them. I do love my Tronics, but I have found that it will, it slips out. And so then I lose all my, so I do my fingernail test. I lose my jump rings because they'll just slip right on out. Okay, so now let's get to the halfway mark. Pull out some chain there, get to the halfway mark. I just pull out a scrap piece of wire, stab myself with it, then just kind of go into the middle, and the middle is right there. And I try to get it exact, but it, you know, maybe with something small like this, I miss like a link or so. But what I do is I put the smaller side on the, lobster clasp side. I just need to get a good grasp on that. Do the fingernail test. I do have really thick fingernails, and so if my fingernail slips through there, then that is not a good thing. So let's just give it the little wiggle. All right, so now what we'll do is we will grab, and I just kind of feel around until I feel where that where the opening is. I just do the little feel around. Let's go ahead and do this and get my little chain on here. I do love this chain. It's nice and bright. It's a nice and bright silver. I just have to get that locked in. Feels good. Now let's grab another. Get it opened up. And for my next piece, I was going to use the fire line again. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Soft Flex so that I can get a little bit of variety and different feel. I've used the fire line for bracelets when I've made multi-strand bracelets, and I really like it. I think I just like, I use the Soft Flex so much more that I'm so used to it that so I did my little test on if the lobster clasp worked, but I did not do the test to make sure that that went through. There we go. So just use my little beading awl. All right. Yeah, whenever I take them out of the bag, I always do the little, the lobster test. And I have had it. In fact, I have one in this bag that it opened and just did not want to close. But I have never thought of checking the hole. That's a first. I've made tons of necklaces. All right, so give that a nice little squeeze. There we go there. Then we have this one here, and we'll get this attached on there with my 6mm closed. I have a closed jump ring for the clasp. And there we go for this guy. So then for this necklace here, I was wanting, so there it is. I didn't know how that bottom would work out and this down in here, but I like it. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to make the earrings that I have in mind to match these. So these I want to go up here. So with these guys, I'm going to add one of those nice bead caps. Love those bead caps because you can either, I'm going to use them on the top of one bead, but I'm going to use them on the bottom of this one here. And just crank that in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and use a a crystal rondelle, and then one of these real pretty rondelles. So that is going to be, this is going to be the earring, and I'm going to use the hinge. So it's not going to be very long. It's going to be, not very long at all, but it'll be cute. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a little small neck, but I am going to wire wrap it. I'm not going to do a simple wrap. A simple loop. I'm going to go ahead and do a wire wrap. So I gave that 90 degree pull to the back. Then I'm going to come in very close because I don't want a large loop. And so, it looks like my bead cap goes all the way through. And I tested these beforehand. And all right, so when that happens, this is what I do. Okay, so I have these little spacers. So I'm gonna put the little spacer on first. Little spacer bead. Then go here. All right, let's see how that works. Because you do have to improvise, right? Oh, I like that better. Okay, so this is when it actually worked out okay for you. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and give it another I'll put those over to the side. We're gonna go ahead and give this another bend. Then I wanna go close to the top. So again, my palm is facing towards me. And now I'm just gonna grab that wire and push it up against the top. Now my palm is facing the table. I'm gonna push that around over to the side. I'm gonna come back over here, go right in the middle. And before I wrap this, I need to put my ear wire on. Now again, this is gonna be my front. So I am going to come in from the back side and just pop that on. And if it does not pop on, you just need to open up your little loop just a little bit, but be careful not to ruin that nice loop. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with my chain nose pliers, and I'm gonna come right up against there. Make sure it's all nice, and I'm gonna need the smaller ones. Because again, I didn't want a large loop. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with my bent chain nose pliers and give it a little wrap, and it looks like I'm only gonna have a couple. Maybe 3. No, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it. No, I'm gonna go in at 3. I just don't wanna get it too close because when I go to tuck this in, I don't want to hurt that bead. Okay, so now I'm gonna come into the back, give it a little, cover it up. Okay, so then I'm gonna come in with these guys. I'm gonna come in here, and I just need to get that just tucked in a little bit. And again, I'm not pushing too hard because I don't want to hurt that bead. All right, so there we go there. Let's do the same thing here with the spacer, with this guy. Let's go with the rondelle. And that rondelle. And again, we're not gonna give it a large neck. So I'm gonna come in close to the end, bend 90 degrees, come in, face my palm towards me, right at the end, with my finger, press over that top barrel. Now my palm is gonna face the table, and I'm gonna come in and push that to the back. I'm gonna turn, give it a look, and make sure that it's straight up. I don't want a P, and then a P shape, and so now I'm gonna come in, loop that through. Then I'm going to come in with my small little chain nose. Actually, these aren't even chain nose. I think these are crimping pliers. But I use them because the tip is so small. All right, so now, and see how I can just, plus the tail is not very long, so I would have a very hard time with trying to get this around in a nice tight manner. All right, so here we go. All right, that's fine. There's the back. And again, I just hold this just for secure, so I don't drop anything, so I don't rely on my fingers because my fingers are not strong. And I'm just coming in and just giving it a little, make sure it's not sticking out anywhere. All right, so for part 1 of our earrings and necklaces made using the root beer float mini bead mix from Jesse James Beads. We have earring and necklace part 1. Here we go. Earrings and necklace. And I will come back for video number 2. Bye.